Broadcasting Authority of Ireland has upheld a complaint made by former presidential candidate Seán Gallagher relating to the Frontline Presidential debate broadcast on RTÉ1 during the election campaign. The complaint related to a tweet incorrectly attributed to the official Martin McGuinness for President account that was broadcast during the course of the debate. Well, now, Seán Gallagher is not doing interviews today, but for more on this, we're joined here in studio by RTÉ's Director General, Noel Curran. Thanks for coming to talk to us on the programme, Mr. Curran. In their ruling today, the Broadcasting Authority of Ireland say that they don't have any power to instruct RTÉ to issue an apology to Seán Gallagher, but tonight RTÉ is apologising to Mr. Gallagher and expressing your regret at what happened.
Absolutely. We very much regret that we have been ruled against in relation to the programme, specifically in relation to not verifying the tweet. We acknowledge that mistakes were made, and I have no hesitation at all in apologising to Mr. Gallagher that we didn't verify the first tweet. We are heartened by the fact that the BAI recognised the bona fides of the production team, that they acknowledged that there was no evidence that the programme was constructed in an unfair manner. But I think it is important for us as the national broadcaster to admit our mistakes and to learn from those mistakes.
Right. What though of RTÉ's case that it presented in response to this to the BAI, because the BAI refers to it and they say that the RTÉ said that the inclusion of the tweet during the programme, which you've accepted should have been checked, was legitimate for a number of reasons, one of which was that the content of the tweet, if not the source, subsequently proved to be accurate.
The BAI also said that the reintroduction of the issue was legitimate. From an RTÉ perspective, we said we believed the overall programme was fair. We expressed regret to anyone who complained about the programme as far back as November that the veracity of the tweet wasn't checked. And
but it was RTÉ's position, according to the BAI, that there was legitimacy conferred on the decision to broadcast the tweet because subsequently the information proved to be correct. Seems extraordinary.
No, in terms of RTÉ's position in the submission, RTÉ took a position across the entire programme, and we made a submission saying that we believed the entire programme was fair. But we did acknowledge regret on the specific of the tweet, and I think from our point of view, we have been ruled against on that. We've been ruled against on that by the BAI, and what we need to do is we need to realise that social media is exploding. Right. We need to acknowledge as an organisation that our guidelines in terms of social media weren't adequate, and we've already changed those, and we need to stand back from this in a non-defensive way and say what else have we to learn from this.
Existing journalistic guidelines require journalists in this organisation and in most reputable news organisations to check their facts before they present them to the public, and clearly that didn't happen in this case.
No, it was a mistake. We should have done that, and we acknowledge that. I believe that RTÉ has the highest standards in regards of news and current affairs. I've been editor of Current Affairs twice. I've seen the standards of our journalists.
Not on this occasion.
Not on this occasion. We made mistakes. And I think. Brian, from my point of view, we need to acknowledge that, we need to recognise that, we need to say, how do we move forward as an organisation and correct that?
There are still some unanswered questions about all of this, because subsequent to this bogus tweet coming into the programme and being broadcast, Sinn Féin then issued their own tweet which said that they denied involvement in this earlier piece of information. And that was in the possession of the programme for almost half an hour before the programme concluded, and yet there was no correction made.
Again, we feel that should have been corrected, and that was a mistake. There was a breakdown in communication, and that wasn't corrected. And the BAI have ruled against us in that. So I think from our point of view, we need to look at this judgment over the coming days. We need to stand back and question ourselves. We are the national broadcaster. We expect the highest standards, and I believe we deliver the highest standards.
So will there be an inquiry into what this breakdown of communication was?
I think in terms of where we are now, we've simply gotten this in the last couple of hours, like everybody, and we need to sit and we need to look at this and we need to decide where we go from here with it. What I would say is that we do expect and we do attain the highest standards. We do 20 hours of live news and current affairs on RTÉ1 every week. We do 40 hours of live news and current affairs on Radio 1. I don't know of any other broadcaster that does that, and I believe that our journalists and our production teams attain the highest standards. But when we make mistakes, we should admit them, we should learn from them.
I mean, and the fact, just in relation to this correction from Sinn Féin, not only was it not broadcast during the programme, Pat Kenny subsequently interviewed Seán Gallagher the next day, and again there was no reference made to this, the fact that the original tweet was bogus. I think the very next morning.
I think in terms of that, Brian, there are issues for RTÉ in that regard. My understanding is that the production team weren't aware of it. There are issues for RTÉ in that regard, in that when one part of a large organisation discovers something that is wrong, how do we alert the rest of the organisation immediately? I think the discussion had moved on the next day, and Mr. Gallagher didn't refer to it either during the interview with Pat. But again, there are lessons to be learned. Mistakes were made and we need to correct them. We need to look at our systems. We need to find ways that we alert everyone when we discover mistakes.
Just a word, sorry, finally, about those involved in this. Is there any question of disciplinary action or sanctions against them?
The BAI report goes out of its way to say that they accept the bona fides of the production team. They say that they do not believe there was any attempt at concocting some kind of impartial approach. From our point of view, we have literally got the findings. I think we need to go away, we need to look at them, and then we need to decide how we're going to move forward, what actions we're going to take, and how we're going to maintain what I believe are the very high standards in news and current affairs.
There we'll leave it. Noel, Curran, thanks for talking to us.